Hello, 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 my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. Welcome to another edition of the Weekly Astro Forecast live here in the Astro Room on YouTube. I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if this is our first time meeting, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So this channel is everything astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, or if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, my loves. So this is the weekly astro forecast for the week of November 18th through 24th, 2024. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you all have had a great start to your week. And I hope that you guys are ready. Ready. Like really ready. Because the future has arrived. So this is a pretty big week. This is the week when Pluto makes a permanent home in the sign of Aquarius for the next 20 years. We had a taste of it earlier this year. Then Pluto went retrograde back into Capricorn for a little bit. It dipped back into Capricorn. And this week, Pluto is here to stay in Aquarius. It's a pretty big deal. It is the quintessential astrological event of 2024. And we're living it, right? It's literally the future is the present. So I'll be talking all about that, as well as the rest of the astrology for the week, including the fact that we start a new season this week as the sun moves into the sign of Sagittarius. So lots to talk about, lots to discuss. So get comfy, get a drink, get a snack, and tap in. All right. So hi, Mel. I joined the live chat and the wait time said 3:33. You got to be starting something. I said, you want to be starting something? Hi, Maminka. I love that. Signs and synchronicities. I love that. All right. So before we get into all of the juicy details for the week, if you are joining me here on the live this evening, thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate you. Say hi on your way in. And definitely don't forget to hit that like button, please. And thank you. And if you are watching this on the replay, I appreciate you just as much. If you find everything that you're looking for in this broadcast, namely insightful information, astrology jargon, what the week is going to look like, and you enjoy it, then hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification bell if you haven't already. All right. So, in terms of announcements, so I mentioned, I guess the last time I went live, it's been a little while since I went live, that for the remainder of the year, I am focusing exclusively on my 2025 year ahead readings. And that is still the case. So if you are interested in finding out what 2025 has in store for you specifically, you will definitely want to order this reading. It is a live reading. It is 60 minutes. I will tell you everything you need to know about 2025 for you from point A to Z. All right. And during the month of November, it is discounted. So if you want to sign up, I would do so before the month is out. You can schedule this in January. You can schedule it whenever, but I would definitely sign up in November while the discount is still hot, because come December, it will be full price. And you definitely don't want to miss this, because 2025 is a very dynamic year. If you've watched any of my other broadcasts over the last couple of months, I've always said that 2024 is the lead up to 2025. 2025 and 2026 is when shit is really going to pop off. And so you definitely want to be prepared. You want to know what you're up against. You want to know perhaps what themes are going to play out in your life. All right. I'm not just saying this just to promote this because I want you to schedule. Like, the point is preparation, right? Forewarned is forearmed. And I'm not saying that you need to arm yourself, right? But if you knew that it was going to rain next week and you were going on vacation, you would pack accordingly, right? If you knew that it was going to snow, or if there was going to be a storm, or if it was going to be extremely hot, you would pack accordingly. And that's what these readings do. They let you know what the astrological weather will be like so that you can pack accordingly and get ready and take advantage of the times that, not even the times, but take advantage of the energy that the universe is giving you throughout the year. So again, It's called The Next Chapter. It's the 2025 year ahead reading. The link is in the description box below, as well as tagged to this video. And again, the discount is only applicable until the end of November. Thereafter, this reading will be full price. All right. And so there's that. And then, as always, maybe you're not ready for all of that. Maybe you're brand spanking new to astrology and you're like, I don't even know what's going on. I don't know what this is or that is. Don't worry, I've got you covered. So, if you want to learn how to read your natal chart for free, mind you, then you'll definitely want to sign up for my free live workshop. It's called Your Cosmic Selfie, an intro to your natal chart. I give this workshop every 2 weeks, so you can pick whichever session that you want to attend. And it's really a great overview into your natal chart, what comprises your natal chart, and how to have a sort of general overview reading of your natal chart so you can actually understand it. And then as time goes on, we're going to get into some more advanced level knowledge when it comes to our natal charts. But suffice it to say, if you're just starting out, this is definitely the workshop for you. Again, I give it every 2 weeks and it's absolutely free. And the best part is, even if you can't make it to the recording, if you sign up, if you can't make it to the live workshop, if you sign up, you will get a copy of the recording. You will get a link to the recording. So either way, you win. All right. So if you're interested, link is in the description box below and is also tagged to this video. All right. So let's discuss this week, honey. Like I said, the future is here. Pluto will officially move into Aquarius. Now, this is a big deal because Pluto takes a long time to get through each sign. The orbit of Pluto is kind of wonky, such that, take for instance, the sun. The sun spends the exact same amount of time in every sign, namely 30 days. So it's very regular. The orbit of Pluto is very elliptical, so the amount of time it stays in every sign varies. Some signs it stays 10 years, other signs it stays 40 years. So we just got out of a 16-year, right? Yeah, 16-year cycle with Pluto in Capricorn. And now that Pluto is going into Aquarius, it's going to be spending the next 20 years there. So get comfortable. Wherever Aquarius is in your natal chart, this is where you're going to be experiencing profound change. And I know you could feel it already. The thing with Pluto is that Pluto is known as a generational planet. That's why when people talk about boomers, millennials, Gen X, Gen Z, they're really talking about where Pluto is, what sign Pluto is in. So millennials, Pluto was probably in Libra when you were born, right? Gen Z, Pluto was in Scorpio or Sagittarius, right? So wherever Pluto is, whatever sign Pluto is in demarks that generation. And so with Pluto entering Aquarius, we're entering a new generation. And I can only imagine what this new generation is going to be like, because I'm a millennial, an older millennial, but a millennial nonetheless. And sometimes I look at like Gen Z and Gen Alpha and I'm like, what's going on? But that's another story for another day. However, we're entering a new generation. So things are going to be remarkably different. And Aquarius is an interesting sign. And I had lost my train of thought, but now I'm right back on track. So with Pluto being a generational planet, it affects us collectively. Now, wherever Aquarius is in your natal chart, this is where you're going to feel the effects of Pluto personally. However, because Pluto is a generational planet, its intensity is felt more on a societal level. And we are seeing it firsthand, right? We are seeing how things are changing. We are seeing and feeling this sense of uncertainty because the future, depending on who you're talking to, either looks really great or like really scary. So I will explain everything you need to know about Pluto going into Aquarius. And like I said before, we've got the sun moving into Sagittarius this week. I don't know about you, but I am sad to see Scorpio season go. I love Scorpio season. Even though I am a Virgo sun, I'm actually a progressed Scorpio sun. So I'm all about that Scorpionic energy. So seeing Scorpio leave and now going into Sagittarius, it's a little sad, but Sagittarius is all about optimism. It's all about seeing the bigger picture. So even though we were down in the trenches during Scorpio season, we're really doing some intense work where life just felt really intense, right? We're now going to have this energy of levity, of opportunities, of optimism, seeing the bigger picture and expansion. So it should be pretty exciting. And then other than that, we've got some of the regular astrology kind of stuff for the rest of the week. Nothing too crazy, but like I said, this is the week where the future becomes the present. All right. So without further ado, let's get into it and see exactly what we've got going on for the week. All right. And of course, we start off with the highlights. So first, we have what I like to call a new age, and this is Pluto entering Aquarius. Like I said, new age, new era, new generation, just newness. The future is now. All right. Then we have what I like to call up, and away, and this is Sagittarius energy. Like I said, Scorpio was very intense. We're sort of down in the trenches, down in the dungeon, and now we're about to soar into the stratosphere, and we're going to see things from a bigger vantage point and hopefully experience some expansion and growth over the next 4 weeks. And then finally, I have what's your why? Okay. And this is the Sun trine Neptune that we're actually experiencing today. And so this is going to give us a little clarity of purpose, but you really have to be cognizant of why you want that dream, of why you want this thing, right? Going to be an interesting transit if you aren't feeling it already. All right. So now that we talked about the highlights, let's get into the details. So this is what we've got going on for the week of November 18th. So we've got Sun trine Neptune, Mercury opposite Jupiter, star of the show, actually star of the year, which is Pluto entering Aquarius. We've got Mercury trine Chiron, Sun entering Sagittarius, heralding Sagittarius season. Sun sextile Pluto, and then Venus sextile Saturn. So not too much going on. However, it is pretty significant if I say so myself. All right, so let's get into it. So we begin today on Monday with the Sun trine Neptune. Oh, there's one thing I actually forgot. I forgot to show you guys what the moon is doing this week. So this is the astrological transits, and then this is what we have going on with the moon this week. So we are in the waning gibbous and the last quarter phase as we make our way to the new moon, right? Is that what we're making our way towards? Yes, because we just completed the full moon in Taurus, and now we are going to be making our way to the new moon in Sagittarius, which is happening, I believe, on December 1st. All right. However, this week we are in the waning gibbous and the last quarter phase. So we start off with waning gibbous moon in Cancer, then it will move into Leo, and then we've got the last quarter phase in Virgo. All right, so that's what the moon is doing this week. So now let's get into the week itself. So today on Monday, we've got the Sun trine Neptune, Mercury opposite Jupiter, and the waning gibbous moon in Cancer. All right, so let me show you what this looks like on the chart. So this is the chart for today. You will see at the upper right-hand portion of the chart, you'll see the sun at 27 degrees of Scorpio, and that will be trine to Neptune, which is on the upper left-hand portion of the chart, which is at 27 degrees of Pisces. We've also got Mercury at 19 degrees of Sagittarius, which is going to be opposite to Jupiter at 18 degrees of Gemini. And then we've got the moon in Cancer. All right, so let's talk. Let's discuss it. All right, so Sun trine Neptune. This is what I called what's your why? So when we have the Sun trine Neptune, Neptune is our dreams, right? And the sun not only energizes things, but it also sheds light on things. So it gives us a certain amount of truth. It gives us a certain amount of exposure. It gives us a certain amount of awareness. So this is the transit where you're very much aware and cognizant of your dreams, right? It's very much a situation where, okay, it becomes very clear to you perhaps what you want to be, what you want to do, what you want to have. There is this clarity of purpose, this clarity of desire. Whatever that dream is, there's this clarity that comes with it. Now, keep in mind, today the sun is still in Scorpio, and this is why I entitled this transit, Know Your Why. Because everything about Scorpio is like getting to the bottom of things, getting to the truth of the matter. Scorpio energy is very much attuned to psychology, right? And psychology is all about understanding the mind, understanding the psyche. So it's great to have a dream. It's great to be clear on what that dream is, but why do you want this thing, right? What is the motivation behind it? And I love how Scorpio does this. Scorpio is not just about, understanding things just to understand them. Scorpio uses what it learns in uncovering things in order to change, in order to transform, right? So I know I mention this ad nauseum so many times, depending on whatever I'm talking about. But it can become very evident that sometimes the things that we want are not necessarily what we want. It's more of what we are conditioned to want. I was watching I One of the things I love is discovering a new creator or a creator that's new to me on YouTube and then just binge watching their videos. And I found this guy, I forgot his name. I think it's Immortal something, but he does these very spirituality, entrepreneurship based videos. And he they're mostly geared toward men, but a lot of what he says just is really evident to everyone, right? And basically he says, like, it's not just enough to have like a dream, right? You really have to understand why you have this dream. And he gave this example of women, and he was talking about how, you know women nowadays are very different from women even 30 years ago, right? So if as a man, if you're someone who's been out of the dating scene for a while, if you're back on the scene right now, how you deal with women is very different because women have a different mindset. And he said, not that it's a bad thing, but he's like, there are a lot of women who don't want to get married. There are a lot of women who want to enjoy their freedom. There are a lot of women who want to date or maybe even be in a serious relationship with someone without having the obligation of being married to them, right? And as women, right, society teaches us that, when you're married to a man, you have to take care of him. You got to take care of home. You got to take care of the kids. There's all of this nurturing that you have to give to a lot of other people outside of yourself. And he's like, there are a lot of women who they just don't want that, right? They don't want that they don't want those obligations, right? And so I bring that up to say that maybe using this example, like you're someone who's like, I want to get married, right? And maybe that's because, let's say you're a woman and society has conditioned you to want that, right? We all want that great marriage, that husband, those kids. But then when you really sit with yourself and you're really like thinking about what you want, do you really want that? And not only that, the way that Scorpio energy works, Scorpio was going to have you look at the ugly side of things. So, of course, society is like, get married, get married. You have this beautiful wedding, you have these Instagrammable moments, you have these great kids and all this stuff. But the reality is, you're taking care of all these people. Plus, you got to take care of yourself. Plus, you have to work. And it's like, it may not be the fantasy that society is trying to sell you. So I say all of this to say that you need to know why you want the things that you want. And where is that desire stemming from? Whose desire is it really? Is it yours or is it someone else's? And what I love about this is that because the sun is trine to Neptune and they're both in water signs, you're going to feel certain things that will let you know if you're really tapped into what it is that you want or not. And not just that, you can really listen to your intuition. So if your intuition is saying, you know what, I do want a relationship, but I don't necessarily want to get married. When you're able to qualify that desire, right now, your frequency for what you truly want, and you can attract what you truly want. Instead of attracting someone who wants to get married and wants to, keep you barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen all the time, right? So we get to understand our why. And I love this for us because it's clarity of purpose with the sun. With the sun in Scorpio, we're getting to the bottom, the truth of it, and we understand our motivation for what we want. And then Neptune in Pisces is like, all right, this is what we're envisioning, so this is what we're making happen. So it's a beautiful transit nonetheless. And also pay attention to how you're feeling about certain things. That's the one thing I love about planets and water signs is that the energy, it's visceral. You can feel it, right? Your emotions become ignited. And this is one of those times. So pay attention to how you feel. When you think about something, how do you actually feel about it? Spend some time reflecting on this, spend some time really sort of making sense of this, and it'll really take you a long way. All right. So, thereafter, today we also have Mercury opposite Jupiter. Now, Mercury opposite Jupiter, this transit is really a great precursor to Sagittarius season. Not just that, we've got Mercury going retrograde next week. Fun times, I know. But this particular transit today may start to jog your memory with respect to plans, goals, and dreams that you want to work on, right? I think the best use of the energy, right? With the Sun trine Neptune, I was just talking about how understanding your why and clarity of purpose and clarity of your desires. With Mercury opposite Jupiter is like, okay, this is what I want. Let me start putting a plan in place, right? Now, the one thing that may be a little challenging with this transit is that on the one hand, you want to get very granular with the details, right? You really want to be like, okay, I got to do this to get to this, to get to this, to get to this. But understand that Mercury is in Sagittarius. Jupiter, the ruling planet of Sagittarius, is in Gemini. So this is more big picture. So when we're planning under this transit, we're not like, okay, I gotta go. In order to be a millionaire, I gotta get this job and then promote it and do this and do that and talk to this person. No, this is like, I want to be a millionaire. Point blank, period. Right? And we're visualizing, we're doing all the things, and we're keeping our eyes on the bigger picture. Okay. And what I like about this transit is that even though you may feel like, okay, I either have to really plan this or, really get into the details, or maybe you're just really amped about it, um, you're probably likely to feel optimistic about whatever you're planning or whatever you're dreaming. So it's definitely a feel good kind of transit. So to sort of build on the momentum of the energy for today, start thinking about this. I mean, I don't think I need to tell you to start thinking about the things that you want because I'm sure that you think about them anyway. But I'm saying think about them in a way that is constructive. Think of them in a way that allows you to see and feel the bigger picture, right? And understand why you want it. And in doing so, right, this is how you gain traction. This is how you gain momentum toward actually having it. All right. Hopefully that made sense. And then finally, today we have the waning gibbous moon in Cancer. So the moon is at home in Cancer. So this is one of those days where you may feel extra emotional, a little moody, very sensitive, wanting comfort, wanting protection, all of those Cancer feelings, right? Being nurtured, being coddled, being cared for, all that kind of stuff. So whenever the moon is in Cancer, I love to take it easy. Number one, I mean, I like to take it easy a lot. So let me not say that. But whenever the moon is in Cancer, especially in the waning gibbous phase, when the moon is waning in Cancer, it's just like whatever doesn't feel good, I don't need to entertain at the moment, right? Because the waning phase is when we divest ourselves of what we no longer need. And so if it doesn't satisfy me, if it doesn't speak to my basic emotional needs, then I just kind of put it to the side for the couple of days that the moon is in Cancer, right? And this is also a great time to be at home, get comfortable, um, and figure out what it is that you need. How do you want to feel? And anything that's not facilitating those feelings that you need, get rid of it or at least put it to the side for now. Right. So this is one of those moons, right? When the moon is in Cancer, it's one of those times where you kind of just don't necessarily need to do the most. Especially because people tend to be extra sensitive, extra crabby around this time. So staying to yourself and kind of making yourself feel good is a good thing. Indulging in self-care. And when I say self-care under the moon in Cancer is like getting cozy, cuddling up to someone that you love, like that kind of self-care. Those are great things to do when the moon is in Cancer. All right. So that is today. Let us keep it moving. And now we get to Tuesday. So on Tuesday, we've got Mercury trine Chiron and the heavy hitter of the week, Pluto, entering Aquarius. All right. And so see what this looks like on the chart. So you will see that, let's see, at the very top of the chart, we've got Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. At the upper right-hand portion of the chart, you will see Mercury at 20 degrees of Sagittarius. And then at the left-hand portion of the chart, you will see Chiron at 19 degrees of Aries. All right, so let's discuss. First, let's talk about Mercury trine Chiron. Now, whenever we talk about Chiron, we're talking about healing. This is about healing our insecurities, our traumas, our wounds, all of that stuff. And in that healing, it helps unlock certain things in our lives, okay? And when we talk about Mercury, we're talking about ideas and communication. So this is one of the best, in my opinion, transits to really exercise your throat chakra and to work through any insecurities or wounds having to do with speaking up, speaking your truth, public speaking, expressing yourself, any hangups you may have about whether you know enough or you're smart enough. This will provide peaceful opportunities for healing. And I use the word peaceful intentionally because whenever we're talking about healing, right, a lot of times we heal through triggers. We get triggered and then we become aware of what needs to be healed and then we engage in the work to heal that thing, right? That's sort of a simplified version of it. However, whenever we have a trine, it's like, imagine you have an insecurity about public speaking. Maybe you get very nervous. Maybe you feel like you don't know enough, that you're not smart enough or whatever, so you avoid public speaking. However, there's this group that you recently joined and you absolutely love it. Like everyone is super friendly, it's very welcoming. And now they want you to give a presentation on something that you are super knowledgeable about, something that you're so comfortable talking about. And so you get up in front of this group, you do this presentation, and before you know it, you're like, wow, like I really, and then people come up to you afterward and they're like, oh my God, that's such a great presentation. I learned so much, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it was a peaceful sort of entry or a very peaceful and harmonious transition into working through that public speaking insecurity or emotional wound, right? That's just an example. But you get what I'm trying to say, right? It's not like you are put in, so in law school, they do something called the Socratic method. And so class will be like between an hour and 2 hours, and the teacher will randomly call on somebody. And for that hour, you have to answer all the questions. And it's nerve-wracking. People cry sometimes. It's brutal. That is another way to work through your public speaking wound, but in a harsh kind of way. That's not what this transit is. This transit is like you get to speak on something that you love, that you're knowledgeable about, and that you have a certain confidence with. And before you know it, you've worked through this wound. All right. So, whatever opportunities arise early this week, into midweek, even into later in the week, that allow you to express yourself, that allow you to teach people, that allow you to speak your truth, take them. It'll probably be received pretty well. And it'll allow you to work through that wound, that insecurity, that hang up in a way that feels good to you. So I really like this transit. And then we've got the star of the show, which is Pluto entering Aquarius, right? So I did a whole video on this earlier in the year. The link is in the description box below, so you can check it out to get the real down and dirty on this transit. However, suffice it to say, the one thing that I want to emphasize with this is that Pluto and Capricorn really focused on transformation as it relates to structure. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is all about structure, limitation, challenges, obstacles, traditions, things that are long standing, right? and Pluto going through Capricorn, right? Since 2008. Think about, reflect on, depending on how old you are, reflect on how things have changed since 2008. I remember the first thing I remember when I hear 2008 is the financial crisis. And then there was Occupy Wall Street. And then you saw the fall of these huge banks, right? That was Pluto transiting through Capricorn at work. Pluto took a wrecking ball to established institutions, whether they were religious, whether they were financial, whether they were even educational, right? Remember, like there were all those scams with those people trying to get into college and all these other things. Like every single big institution took a hit. Some of those hits, some of these institutions were able to withstand, others were not, right? And those that were not, they're not coming into the future. Remember, I said Pluto and Aquarius, the future is now. So, Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, Pluto and Capricorn sort of tested the limits and the boundaries and the structural health of things in society. That's sort of the nutshell kind of explanation. Now, what's interesting is that Capricorn and Aquarius, they share a planetary ruler. They share Saturn. So Aquarius understands structure. Aquarius understands limits. The thing with Aquarius, because its other ruler is Uranus, Aquarius is about breaking those barriers. So if Capricorn is about setting the rules, Aquarius is about breaking the rules. And so, hello, respectful cicada. How are you? Glad you were able to catch a live. So Capricorn sets the rules, Aquarius breaks them. So the theme for Pluto in Aquarius is rebellion, and we are seeing this right now. They're talking about, they throw the word civil war around a lot here with everything that's going on in the US. They're talking about world war with everything that's going on, elsewhere. This is a time of rebellion. So, like I said, Pluto takes a long time to go through signs. The last time that Pluto was in Aquarius, the last time Pluto was where it is now, we had the American Revolution, we had the Haitian Revolution, we had all of these uprisings. If you take it even further back in history, we had the fall of the Roman Empire with this same transit. Now, saying that may evoke fear in some people, right? Especially here in the US, because so many people are like, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what the future holds. However, breaking the rules and sort of breaking those barriers, it really leaves room for something new. And that's the essence of Aquarius energy. Aquarius, yes, is rebellious because Aquarius wants to improve, innovate, and invent. That's why it is the sign of the future. So everything that we've grown accustomed to, everything that we know, everything that was longstanding in our lives, it has to change. It has to evolve, right? There are certain buildings that are classic landmarks, right? Because they were built 100 years ago and they're still standing. But those are few and far between, right? We have a lot more modern buildings. We have a lot more new construction, depending on where you are. So society is the same way. There are certain institutions that aren't going anywhere, right? But we're seeing that those are few and far between. And Pluto and Aquarius is like, listen, we're going to the moon. We're going to the future. For all you know, by the time Pluto leaves Aquarius 20 years from now, we might have viable colonies on different planets. And just like you can take a plane from New York to LA, you can take a shuttle from Earth to Mars or something like that, or Earth to the moon, right? Regularly, like commercial, right? This is where we're headed. And so while rebellion feels scary, while it evokes fear, while in the moment it may feel like pure anarchy, there's a method to the madness. And I don't want to say there's a light at the end of the tunnel, because I don't want to necessarily I don't want to necessarily label this as dark times. Some people will undoubtedly say that it is. But what's actually happening is that more light, we're able to see more light spiritually and sort of figuratively. We have more access to light, right? Think about noon, right? And how when the sun is highest in the sky, it casts shadows. It shows everything. And those shadows are very prominent because of the position of the sun. So the more light that comes in, and light being consciousness, the more consciousness that we have access to, it's going to make those shadows seem a lot darker. Excuse me. It doesn't mean we're in the dark ages. We're actually in the light ages, just depending on how you look at it. So I say that to say the future is now. This is about improving. This is about evolution. So embrace it. Because everything that happened between 2008 and 2024, it is now done. The door is closed. We're never going back to that. And I want you to take the time to think about where Capricorn is in your natal chart, what house it is in, or what house Capricorn occupies, and what happened between 2008 and 2024. I can almost guarantee that your life was one way in 2008 and is completely different in 2024. And I'm pretty sure you're not necessarily mad at that. You're probably like, oh, okay, this is life now. This is what we're doing. You've either gotten accustomed to it or, you're delighting in it. This is what we're experiencing on a grander scale. Exciting times. You chose to incarnate at this time. So enjoy it. Grab your popcorn. It's about to get really interesting. But either way, this is about innovation. It's about evolution, and it's about rebellion. And by the time Pluto leaves Aquarius in 2044, I can only imagine what life is going to look like. And again, if you want to know more about Pluto and Aquarius, I think I broke it down by sign also, right? To know what you can expect during this 20-year-long transit. The link for that video will be in the description box below. All right. So that is Tuesday. Let's keep it moving. Let's go on to Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we have a light day. We have the waning gibbous moon in Leo. All right. And so let's see what it looks like on the chart. You'll see at the bottom of the chart, we've got the moon at 3 degrees of Leo, and it is going to be right next to, or at least at that time, Mars in Leo. So that should be quite an interesting transit, right? So I personally like when the moon is in Leo because it's playful energy. It reminds us that we have to make time for play. We have to make time to relax. We have to make time for fun. And with the moon in the waning phase, whatever's not fun, whatever's not enjoyable, whatever your inner child wouldn't enjoy, you just don't do it for those 2 days, right? I was having this conversation. I just wrapped up my program, my sound therapy program called Scorpio Season Soul Work. And so we were harnessing the energy of Scorpio energy, harnessing the energy of Scorpio season and using it to transform using astrology and sound therapy. I'm going to be doing another one in Capricorn season, which I'll bring the details to you soon. However, suffice it to say, I was having a conversation with one of my members and was talking about how, we live in a society that's always telling us to go, 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 do, grind, hustle, all of that stuff. And so when we don't do those things, or when we have situations where we can't do those things, right? There are times when the universe will sit you down or slow you down or put an obstacle in your way so you can't move forward in the way that you want to. A lot of times we feel guilty about that. We feel like it's either our fault, that we're lacking, that we're not good enough. Like it can bring up feelings of guilt and shame, right? And understand that when we follow nature, Nature provides built-in time for rest, built-in time for play, built-in time for love, built-in time for solitude, built-in time for togetherness. Like nature has it covered. So a lot of the things that we're doing or that we're conditioned to do are contrary to nature. You can't keep burning the candle at both ends and thinking that you're going to get somewhere. You can't keep doing things, go, go, go. Eventually, you're going to be on empty. Or you've worked so hard, you can't even enjoy what you worked for. I say all of that to say that with the moon in Leo, play. You can take 2 days where you kind of, don't necessarily do all the things that you need to do, where you can maybe play video games if you want to. If you want to play hooky, you could do that too. It's like the universe is saying, play, have fun. Don't take life so seriously. That's why I love when the moon is in Leo, because it reminds us that play is important. Along the lines of play, your inner child needs it. Some people are so far removed from their inner child, they'll hear their inner child and they think it's something wrong. They think it's something negative, right? Your inner child is very much a part of you, right? And your inner child needs playtime. I mean, didn't you need playtime when you were little? Didn't you like to have fun? Didn't you like to play with your friends, watch TV, go outside, do all those things? Like, you need that. And so when the moon is in Leo, you get to have it and you get to enjoy it. And I love that for us. All right. So that's Wednesday. So now let's get into Thursday. So on Thursday, we have the sun moving into Sagittarius, which officially begins Sagittarius season. And then at the same time, we have the sun sextile Pluto. All right. And so this is what it looks like. Oops. This is what it looks like on the chart. So the upper right-hand corner, you will have the sun at 0 degrees of Sagittarius. And then at the very top, tippity top of the chart, you will see Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. All right. So let's talk. So sun in Sagittarius. All right. When I think about the sun in Sagittarius, I think of like the polarity between Scorpio and Sagittarius. So Scorpio, we're deep in the trenches. We're down in the dungeon. We're looking at all of the ugly, unsavory, all of that kind of stuff. And it can be very intense. So it's like we go from the depths of the dungeon to the heights of outer space when we go to Sagittarius energy. So it's no coincidence that the glyph for Sagittarius is the arrow, right? And that arrow is pointing up. So this is about expansion. It is about growth. And it is about seeing the bigger picture. I love Sagittarius energy because it's very optimistic. Now, what's interesting is that, let me say this. I'll say that Sagittarius energy is optimistic in theory. It's optimistic because it sees the bigger picture, right? When you see the bigger picture, it makes the smaller pieces kind of make sense, right? And I say in theory because Sagittarius, like people I know that are Sagittarius suns or even Sagittarius rising, I wouldn't necessarily call them optimistic, right? When I think optimistic, I think of someone who's always finding the silver lining, someone who's very happy-go-lucky. I haven't met a Sagittarius yet who's like that all the time. But they do have a certain wisdom because they can see things from a higher vantage point. I think that's more along the lines of what optimism via Sagittarius energy really means. But it's good because when you see things from a 30,000 foot view, you not only don't get caught up in the details, but it keeps you sort of motivated. It's not so much about knowing why you want something. Knowing the why is really like Scorpio. Sagittarius is just like, I see it. I see the bigger picture. It's like taking a step back, right? If you've got a painting in front of you and it's right in front of your face, your vantage point is very limited, probably only to what you can literally see this way and maybe a little bit of your periphery. But if you move back, now you can see the whole thing. Now those little ink blots and those splashes of paint, they make sense because now it's one cohesive picture. So Sagittarius energy keeps you sort of motivated. It keeps you moving forward, right? Moving up. But most importantly, it's about expansion. So the planetary ruler for Sagittarius is Jupiter, and Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. Hence why Sagittarius energy has a lot to do with expansion, expanding your mind, broadening your horizons. There's also this energy of wanderlust, of adventure that's very much inherent in the Sagittarius energy signature. So when the sun is in Sagittarius, this is the energy that's at our disposals. It allows us to experience things that are different or foreign to us. In experiencing things that are different or foreign, it sort of gives you that experience that contributes to wisdom, right? That's why Sagittarius is very much associated with long distance travel, right? Imagine you are really into Japanese culture, right? You watch anime, you read manga, you're very much immersed in the culture here, right? But imagine what it's like to experience the culture by actually going to Japan, where you're actually interacting with Japanese people, eating authentic Japanese food, immersing yourself in the culture on a very personal level. It broadens your knowledge of it because you've experienced it. So that's exactly how Sagittarius energy works. So wherever Sagittarius is in your natal chart is what's going to be highlighted beginning this week. And so whatever house this is for you, this is where you can experience growth, expansion, or even just go on an adventure. Try something different. You'll definitely be better for it. Okay. Then at the same time, as soon as the sun moves into Sagittarius, it's going to form a nice little sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. So Pluto just made its way into Aquarius, so it's getting comfy, and then boom, the sun makes this sextile to it. So what does it mean? Opportunities for growth and transformation. And you're going to do it in a way that's very forward thinking and optimistic. So, what could this possibly look like? So, first, you're going to want to pay attention to where Sagittarius and Aquarius are in your natal chart. These are the two areas of life where this transformation and growth can happen. So, whenever we have sextiles, this is really about opportunities that present themselves. Now, it's not just going to happen. The opportunity is going to present itself, but it's going to be up to you to take advantage of the opportunity. So this could be an opportunity to change in a very profound way that could improve your life or improve your situation going into the future. This could be some sort of change that takes you someplace far. Maybe it requires you to take a trip someplace far. Maybe it requires you to broaden your mind or broaden your vantage point of something. Either way, this particular transit is going to stretch you and it will likely push you out of your comfort zone in a way that could be permanent or even semi-permanent because we're talking about Pluto here, but definitely profound. So pay attention, particularly, I'd say the entire week. Pay attention to what opportunities come up. And you'll really want to take the time to not necessarily overthink them, but be intentional and deliberate about them. Because we're talking about Pluto, this could change your life, or it could change your life in a very significant kind of way. So definitely look before you leap and think and deliberate on this opportunity as it presents itself. All right. It could be really interesting. It could take you someplace you never thought you'd go. It could take you on a wonderful journey, whether it's a physical journey or even a spiritual journey. Either way, prepare to venture out of your comfort zone in a way that will likely be pleasing to you. Okay. So that is Thursday. Let's move into Friday. All right, so on Friday, we've got Venus sextile Saturn, and then we have the last quarter moon in Virgo. All right, so this is what it's looking like on the chart. At the upper right-hand corner, we've got Venus at 13 degrees of Capricorn. At the top of the chart, we've got Saturn at 12 degrees of Pisces. And at the very bottom, you will see the moon at 0 degrees of Virgo. All right, so Venus sextile Saturn. I personally love it when Venus is in aspect to Saturn. It gives stability, systems, and staying power to relationships and money, generally speaking. Now, of course, it all depends on where this is happening in your natal chart for you to understand, right? But that's basically the gist of it. So, when it comes to money, when it comes to relationships, Venus sextile Saturn gives opportunities for stability. Now Venus is currently in what was that? So if Saturn is in Pisces, Aquarius, Venus is in Capricorn. So this transit allows you to get really serious about money, serious about investing. If you have some sort of goal, money goal, investment goal, Venus sextile Saturn is going to present opportunities where you can stabilize that investment, where you can grow your money. Now understand that when Venus and Saturn link up, it's about longevity and commitment. So, how you'll know if it's a positive sort of opportunity that presents itself is if it requires work or if it takes a long time, it'll likely be good. Because again, Saturn is about time, it's about work, it's about investment. So things like real estate opportunities, if they pop up at this time, you'll definitely want to take advantage of that. Long-term investments, even anything involving like stocks or finances, anything that is stable and long-term. If you have the opportunity to invest in those things, if those kind of opportunities arise, then you'll definitely want to take advantage of them. Now, Venus is not just about money, it's also about relationships. And with Saturn in Pisces, Pisces is about love, but idyllic kind of love, that romance novel kind of love, right? So, this particular transit, it can really make an idyllic romantic situation practical, long lasting, and long term. So, this takes that fantasy romance you have in your head and sort of grounds it and materializes it here in the 3D. So, this particular transit is great for having more commitment in your relationships, perhaps getting engaged, deciding to move in together, those kind of stable, practical things, if they arise, if those kind of opportunities arise, and they could, depending on where this is happening in your natal chart, take advantage of them because it signifies sort of the long-termness of the relationship. But either way, you're going to want to look at where Capricorn and where Pisces are in your natal chart. This is where you can have stability when it comes to relationships, when it comes to money, or even creative endeavors. I don't talk enough about how Venus covers creativity or how it governs creativity. So if you're someone who's looking to start like a business based on a creative project, let's say you're someone who makes handmade crafts, or maybe you're someone who paints or does music, this could provide a system or some type of stability to that creativity. And so again, whatever opportunities arise along those lines, you'll want to take advantage of them. All right. And then finally, we close out the week with the last quarter moon in Virgo. So we leave the playfulness of the moon in Leo and we get to kind of serious Virgo. Virgo is all about organizing, compartmentalizing, and making order out of chaos. And so with the waning moon in Virgo, this is about getting rid of the clutter, getting rid of what you don't need, making space for the things that you do, getting organized and getting efficient. Whether that is mentally, whether it's physically, like in your space, it could even be spiritually, it could be relationship wise. Either way, whenever the moon is in Virgo, we're doing some cleanup. Now, the moon is going to be in the last quarter phase. And the last quarter phase is smack dab in the middle between the full moon that just passed and the new moon that is coming up. And at the last quarter phase, we kind of see things for what they are, and we take responsibility for the things that we did do or we didn't do. So when you're doing this cleanup, you don't need to beat yourself up over what you didn't do, what didn't happen. Just be like, listen, all right, fine. I didn't do this. I'm getting organized so that I can do it in the future. Or I did this and it didn't work out. All right, fine. Let me clean up the mess and keep it moving. That's essentially what the last quarter phase is about. So again, by the end of the week, it's going to be time to declutter. It's going to be time to get orderly, right? And get our ducks in a row for the upcoming new moon in Sagittarius, right? You don't want to have all this clutter around if you're trying to manifest new things. And when the moon is in Virgo, that's exactly what we have the opportunity to do. All right, my love. So that concludes this edition of the weekly astro forecast, again, for the week of November 18th through 24th. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you could use going into this week. So again, if you want to know more about Pluto and Aquarius, that video is linked in the description box below. Check it out if you haven't checked it out already, because like I said, the future is now. All right, my loves, thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you nothing but the absolute best for this week, this month, this season, and this generation and beyond. All right, my loves, have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Take care.